Okay, I think I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, Mr. Viking Beard, you get some monk scrolls. You get some monk scrolls, and Grim, you get some coins. Now, sorry it took a little bit longer than I thought it would. I was almost about to freak out because it was giving me some errors that I had to correct. Probably because I again fucked up my cookies and all stuff on my browser, so it required me to like re-log in everywhere in order for streaming stuff to continue too. So my apologies, but I am back now. So place your units and let's get started with some Rise to Ruins, eh? I do need to like go back to Twitch though and check my stream manager for a sec. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, right title. Yeah, there we go. That's good enough. Coolio. Just gotta love the fucking punchy bass. You don't even have to go to like a fucking rave over here. You just gotta sit at home all day. The rave comes to you. It's like my mom at some point had like a neighbor that played that kind of music, but at the same volume, except her neighbor was like her house and my mom's house. The only thing dividing them was like a wall, like a fire wall, fire protection wall, meaning that when she listened to music, the neighbor that is, and my mom had like shelves or cupboards with like glass windows and like glasses inside for when she has guests, and you know, paintings on the wall and some decorative plates and stuff, and you can just see the fucking plates wobble out in tune with the bass from the neighbor, and you could just feel the vibrations through the floor giving you a foot massage. Like that kind of stuff makes me want to kill someone. Right, so we are actually establishing a new village, believe it or not, because I believe gotta open some loot boxes in Sandy South, but I don't know if we can get to do that in time. Yeah, let's just reset that one in favor of a new quest. There's some Rise to Ruins, pretty chill. Let's go into performance mode because now I actually need to play some video games. Khajiit hiring, okay. I don't think, yeah, all the objectives apart from 2 are on cooldown, so pretty good position to establish a new village. So why don't we go ahead and do this? So, this map. Yeah. Well, I guess we want to start in the northwestern section of the map, most likely, because then the corruption is probably going to spawn down here. and be like clammed in between the a rock and a hot place, I was just about to say, but the forest and the stone formations there. Now, true, we won't have many trees, but that's nothing a motivate land spell can't fix. I wonder, oh, this is gravel, that's what that is, okay. So where do we want to put down our camp? If we do here, they might just spawn down there, which would also be okay, at least with me. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Just bonk it down already. Get some workers assigned. While they arrive, we can assign some materials for harvesting. Let's do a good chunk because they'll dig into all these resources pretty quickly. Here comes this man. Okay, I think what we did last time we started a new colony was pretty good, aka building resource gathering buildings first and then worrying about houses afterwards. Oh, this fence is just in the wrong place. I love it. Oh, because of that tree. I was like, why? Why did that not place? But I know exactly why. Okay. What else do we need? Do we want refine? No. Water. Let's do fountains and stuff first, and then we can worry about other things. Let's do a rain catcher here and a well. As a contingency plan. Now we do have a little lake here with water, so we can also make a water purifier fairly soon. Okay, they don't need any fancy materials, so let's just do one for now. Because last time we did have one villager, I remember, that ended up dying from dehydration before we got anywhere, so... Okay, housing. Let's get these suckers some houses. It's like such varied music. Like, I know I can only hear the basic tones, but it's still like, yeah. But if that's what people are into, then, you know, that's their choice. Gotta say though that I did enjoy it more when they were playing like folk music over there. Like, not today that you should have a headache for sure. That shit would just like ruin your day. Here we go. Let's upgrade the camp though, because that way we can assign more builders. And build more things, most importantly. We'll also need to sort out food before it goes on and becomes a problem. Oh, we're out of building slots. Guess we'll need to upgrade this building first then. If we do the water purifier, then the water masters will at least have some more work to do. We can't build the water fountain before we've made a stone cuttery anyway, so I guess we might as well. Build it, you maggots. Not manufacturing, refining. That's where the stone cuttery is. Oh, right. I was like, why does it say lumber mill? But that's because it's over on the left there. That we don't actually have a lumber mill. It's just sort of possible for us to get one for free. Still costs you stuff, but not as expensive. Where are crystals? There and up here. Okay, so it might actually be worth just making a crystillery. Like an ancillary and then a crystillery on the opposite side of that. Tear this place apart. God damn it. Oh! So that's the spell that I miscast. It was a holy golem spell. Whoops. The spell golem. Thank you. I was like... I thought it was like a recall spell, but of course not. Because if the game the spell layout is like what do you call it, per colony, so as I did a new colony, obviously the spell layout was the default, which is not what I want it to be. There we go. That's a good starting thing. Oh, I rarely change it because I stick to pretty much the same spells throughout the whole thing, after all. There's not many reasons to do anything else than that. Oh, and I know what I need. I need my auto-clicker. There we go. So that I don't get carpal tunnel syndrome. Doesn't really fit with the background music I got going over here, but it at least keeps me a little bit distracted. Wow. These these Kura golems gave their lives in order to transport 2 pieces of crystal. Wow. Now that's dedication. It would have been easier if the loot box quest was an open loot boxes anywhere quest. I think those can happen. Which actually we did get a key right here. So if I pick this up and drop this on this chest. Free stuff. And this time I wasn't lying. This time it was actually free stuff. Okay. Produce that infinitely and produce this infinitely. Reassign some people to those work types, those jobs. Oh, right. We need to assign this. It's like a water harvesting area. Oh, this is an ancillary, right. It's not the smeltery that's next to it. Forge, as it's called. And I believe that means we can also build a crystal harvestery. If that chest wasn't in the way. That should do it. Just barely though. And refining and crystallary. Let's just put it over here. Yeah, our water supply does seem to be going up. The question is if we need more water masters to deal with the demand at the moment. So the water just like disappears immediately. Can upgrade the building, of course. So they process faster. Okay, next up would be trash management. I think we can use it down here because I'm intending on clearing out those crystals completely eventually. Because there's some on the opposite side and I would rather have them up there than down by the forest and have to build in a fence and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what we'll be going for. That chest is really in the way. And then we want some processors. Trash processors. And I guess a burner could be placed right there. And then let's get into the magic section. Get a essence collector so we can start collecting essence. Don't see the corruption on the map yet, so they probably arrive at dawn. Is gonna be my guess. Scratchy nose. No workers, no problem. There we go. Should probably mark some crystals, eh? Anything else? Well, the fountain is complete, so now we can actually store water outside of this building. But if we don't produce it fast enough, then it doesn't really matter. Just my jam. Getting jam. Let's upgrade the lumber shack just because it's a borderline free upgrade. The lumber mill, actually let's just do all of these harvesting buildings. Well, it's not free, it's more the fact that they store the resources locally, so they don't need to spend a lot of time moving resources around in order to build those things, because it's kind of already been done. Okay, we'll need a farm though, because we're a little bit out of food. I guess we'll want that up here too. Where else do we even have water on the map now that I think about it? There's a little bit down here. A little bit over here. It's kind of hard to tell though, because this crystal being blue also shows up blue on the mini-map. This over here. I guess we can mark this as a contingency plan in case this little pond we've got here gets completely used up before rain happens, since that is a thing that can happen after all. I am thinking though, so let's cancel that one. Okay, we can assign one more there. Good. Because I want to get some more of those water purifiers in. I want to build them over here. And the reason why is so that we can like both expand the base, but build a or dig a water pit further out, because this is not gonna work in the long run. It's a good start, but it's not good enough. There we go. Might need more organizers. Okay, so here's the corruption. Okay, so they're at the very bottom left. Cool. We can manage. I don't think it's going to be a problem. And this time I'm also going to try something a little bit different. Use more production buildings to spread down towards the corruption, maybe. Simply because their AoE for the build area is larger and they can be considered faster to build than or just as fast at least as the fire pits. But it might be a better approach because it gives you some benefits, like upgrading your lumber shacks. Gives you increased wood farming speeds, right? So 16 migrants from Sandy South. So we'll get like another population spam here. Let's get those guys in where we need them. Maybe don't necessarily need them, but just so that we put them to work, I guess. There we go. As currently our stockpile is very small. Which maybe we should make a wooden stockpile and a stone stockpile. Yep. Need to make the farms. Don't get distracted now. This water purifier is also functional. We need farms so we can start harvesting food. Speaking of which, where the fuck is the food? Okay, there's some up here. I think that's probably gonna be the... Oh, there's a little bit of food there as well. Might as well mark it for the time being. A little bit there. Because that way our farmers at least have some options on where to collect some stuff. Where are these chests spawning right here? Okay, let's see. Okay, we've got plenty of build at the moment, so we can easily put in a Cube E Golem Combobulator to help us with trash management. Put 4 farmers onto this stuff though. And it's not upgraded immediately, and I think that maybe is necessary. Okay, wood storage. That's what I want. Let's put one there. And then a rock storage. Let's put it right here. And a miscellaneous storage right next to it. Because though we can end up storing a lot of stuff in our village center, it doesn't allow for bulk storage of like really basic materials very well, so... And let's do a crystal storage as well. Let's do it around here maybe? No. Okay, I think I don't have to remove all of this, but let's just remove all this stuff. We have 4 unapplied workers. Wait, what? Okay, we do need a cry stiller, so I guess more lumberjacks. Yeah, we can put more on lumber acquisition since the building's been upgraded. These guys down here are just trying to expand as well. They can try, but they won't succeed. Let's upgrade these farms, and let's also queue up some more housing. Which at the moment, let's just make regular housing, nothing fancy. Because we want to get that capacity up at the moment. Let's see here. Let's add this 3x3 or 3 wide path into the forest, into the darkness. Because we need to get started on an essence collector set up down there in the middle. There's like multiple reasons for that, other than what I've already mentioned in past streams, now that I think about it. Because it does also improve like the defensive sort of position for them, because they're like all inside like a protected little area. It definitely needs to get used. Get some of this essence used up so that it doesn't like accumulate around and go to waste. That would be a shame. Especially since it's spring, so we need to make the most out of it while it lasts. There we go. Oh, that's much better. Okay. Have some food now with plenty of water. Everything's looking stable. Let's look into the magic section again. Get an essence collector. Where do we want that far out? I think around here would be sort of good. Let's build our fence strategy so that the path won't get overgrown over time. I think we also have enough build budget so that we can get some waymaker shacks and maintenance buildings. Let's get those down over here. Where's is ready? Okay, we'll take a break from this in a moment. Oh, right. Before I get carried away, let's do a water purifier just below. And do I want to do like one more out? Yeah, let's do that. So, let's take a little break from this and get over to Stream Raiders. Itsy bitsy battle. Okay, let's try the damage buff and go. Oh, Grim in here with some artillery. Hopefully that's gonna be good. And we took out a group of enemies, but it's just so fucking slow. But we did a really good job, you guys. Cool. Who gets it? Grim, you get the flying rogue scroll. Congratulations. And that was actually the boss. Wow, okay, that went by real fast. I didn't even think about it being the boss. Okay, so the blue loyalty chest is all the way up there. Was the fastest and most. Okay, so it doesn't really matter where we start, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna just be a matter of going up or down, so might as well take the upper path. Okie dokes, you guys. Let's go. Some vibes for you. Actually, while we go back to Rise to Ruins, let's just see if I can improve our odds. Okay, those are just new quests. I don't really play the game enough to care about the quests. Some scrolls, okay. Oh right, this is what I need to look at. Collecting all these bloody rewards, eh? Ooh, that's nice. War Beast scrolls. This is the first time I get to upgrade the War Beast. Don't think. Ooh, we can upgrade a spell, but which one? I've kind of just been upgrading Curse and Stronghold. What does this do again? Resist on the battlefield and boost the fire rate of nearby ranged. Ooh, that might actually be good. Okay, now I have the spells unlocked at least. So now I can regret that decision moving forward. Back to Rise to Ruins though. Where were the crops at again? Here and up there. Okay, need some more build limits. So we can build our essence battery. Okay. Let's fast track this one though. The enemies are moving up our way, but it's no problem. They're so low level that they are not really an issue. Get that stuff built. And let's think about getting some golems, eh? There. Because we have a wood stockpile right here, it makes sense to put it around here as well. Where do we want to put it though? Although I want to put it close, I don't want to put it too close to the lumber shack because we need that building to be close to where we have our wood line. Just so they do, just so that they don't have to walk too far. We're out of building slots. Oh no, what an unfortunate disaster that is. Well, at least upgrading the main building doesn't really take that long. Well, let's do a... Oh, out of building slots again. Once we get those combobulators built... Oh, they're going around this way. Oh, interesting. That's why I wasn't... thought they would come around this way. But I guess that is longer, huh? No matter. They will fall to our forces eventually anyway. They can't win. Okay, you lot. Build this damn building place. We need some more build limit in this house. We have all the resources necessary, so it's just a matter of for people getting to work, really. We'll get reinforcements one more time, but that'll put us up to 50 pot, which is how many, as many people that were sent along, so. Beyond that, we kind of have to rely on the marketplace and nomads, so. Which is fine, we can do that, no problem. Yardy yardy. Let's try and put down some infrastructure here because that speeds up our people, and the faster they move, the more stuff they can get done before they get tired and hungry and, you know, human stuff. I just saw that freaking line of essence just like getting sucked into this combobulator for the golems. There we go. Let's also queue up some upgrades for these poor people's houses. Because... oh, right. Not only do we not have enough houses to begin with, but the ones that they have are also kind of crap. I think they're supposed to be just a bunch of tents with a little fence. Tents and fence. Get the tent in the fence. Tent and tents. Tent and tents. Plenty of water, so that's no issue. 9 migrants have, wait, 9 from Sandy South? We only have one child, so 46 plus 9 is more than 50. Well, okay then. Have we gotten nomads? I think we've gotten nomads. So we both get nomads and people from the old area. Oh, so that's nice. That's actually really nice. And very strong, actually, now that I think about it. So many people. Okie dokie. Let's actually mark up some trees down here in this general area. Could actually be cheeky and just cut away all these trees here to begin with. And what that will allow us to do is to use the Motivate Land spell up here without fearing any of the crops sort of getting destroyed by trees overgrowing the area, because that's a thing in the game. So the only unfortunate situation is that all the farms are over here, so we might have to make like a crop field in this area and then cap it off with some fence, even though that's kind of what I wanted to avoid to begin with. But as long as we don't have to destroy a giant bit of forest, I think it's okay, because that's the main thing I wanted to avoid, having to spend a lot of time with our workers going off and like destroying terrain, because all our builders get sort of prioritized into that. So they kind of just go and do that instead of anything else. So let's also get a marketplace, and I think this time around, let's just put it around here. Oh shoot. I would need to upgrade some of the houses, or the main building actually. Again, all the resources are already in here though, so they just need to build the thing. We could help them along with a spell, but they would just get confused, and I would rather just not have that happen, because the spell isn't that efficient. The construct spell. How are we doing on trash? It didn't look too bad. Until the Waymaker Shack has been built, we can't really assign anyone as a Waymaker to actually start construction on building roads. Gotta build those roads, you know. Yeah, look how fast they're building this sucker. And hopefully that'll allow me to build... Okay, our influence area just increased for some reason. I wonder if it depends on the amount of buildings you have. I'm actually a little bit unaware now. Like the one from your main building. It might be that is how it works. I'll have to build an ancillary here. Yeah, I want to get a marketplace in sooner this time around, because, well, in the hopes at least, that it will allow us to get some more workers as Kashyyyks hired, because we have that quest. But also to like sort of start making some gold and buying some things earlier. Let's upgrade these resource harvesting buildings as well. No Waymakers, but we can change some builders into that. There we go. Smelter's here. Hmm. Yeah, this is probably fine for now. I was contemplating building a mineral storage, but I opted against it. But yeah, you can, I believe, yeah, I think, yeah, you can upgrade your wood storage all the way to reinforced with the resources stored inside. So it's like one of those buildings that are pretty quick to upgrade and can improve the efficiency of your village by a good amount as well. So why not? Click clack clampers. What do you mean? Oh, right, because all those clacking sounds from all the workers. It's not too loud, is it? Hope not. If it is, let me know. I'll do something about it. Hope you're doing good though, Prophet. At least you don't have to listen to the fucking techno party going on over in the park today. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. I'll stop. But I can't help that. I just find it funny for some reason. Can't help but to fool around with that a little bit. Yeah, these workers work fast, man. A clinic is something I would also want, but where do we want it though? Now that is a good question. Tell you what though, they're cutting away this forest pretty quickly. Finally doing much needed laundry. Got a cup of water yourself? Oh, got a cup of water yourself? I didn't see that punctuation there. Got a cup of water yourself? Question mark? I'm doing pretty good. I was doing Rimworld modding earlier today and a little bit of testing for the medieval run. So it's in the VODs already if you want to see some of that stuff, if you're curious. But the general gist is that I think it's going to be possible. I'll have to make do with the fact that Dragon's Descent is not updated yet, unfortunately. But I think everything else that I need is pretty much ready to go. The only sad part is that the medieval overhaul mod does so many things that it sort of does a lot of stuff that you can do with other standalone mods that just do it better, or at least more in tune with what I want. So although it adds like a lot of armors and weapons and production buildings, furniture, everything medieval themed, of course, it just also adds a lot of bloat with a lot of things that I don't think I want to use. And because it's such a large mod in terms of what it does, it's easier to just keep it enabled alongside the standalone ones and then just not use their buildings. But that does mean that for the TTK list, I'll have to go through and like do a lot of work there too. So the question becomes if the medieval overhaul mod is going to be worth it or not. There's only one way to figure it out, and that's giving it a go, I think. But yeah, that is one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about. But I mean, I'll probably do a test colony and we'll see how it goes. And then based off of that, you know, take it with us to the next one. So, because who knows, maybe a Rimworld of Magic is also like still not stable enough to the point where I'll be comfortable using it. But anyways, it is what it is, I suppose. So once we've built this maintenance building, I want to build an ancillary, I think. But yeah, my own mods have also gotten a long way. I'm almost ready to publish them. There's a few things that I need to do before I can do that on the workshop though, like taking some... And one new screenshot, for instance, is needed. But other than that, like, the actual functionality from it seems to be in place. And I'm very happy with the result. I managed to do some things with the ores that, from what I can tell, I don't think anyone else in the workshop has really done to the same degree. You know, not trying to, how do you even say that again? Like, smell my own farts too much, but there are some interesting stats on materials in Rimworld, and generally speaking, a lot of cool stuff you can do on a modding. Toot your own horn. Yeah, that's another way to say it. But yeah, I am pretty proud of what I've managed to achieve so far, at least. Will it be balanced though? Now that is going to be the question. That will be hard to answer. And probably the biggest, you know, thing that I will need to work on moving forward. But fortunately, as soon as you have all the basics in place and you have something to work off, it's pretty easy to do, at least. And most importantly, what do you call it? Having stuff like ore rarity done is pretty important, because as long as you don't, like, you have the opportunity to actually acquire the materials and they don't like become so common, let's say, that materials from other mods have a hard time spawning in, you should be good. Because that was another concern I had, that if I put the rarities too low, I guess you would say, my ores would spawn so frequently that if you were using materials expanded, you almost wouldn't be able to make any progress, because, you know, instead of iron and tungsten and titanium and all that stuff, you would get like a bunch of magical ores, which, though having interesting properties and stats, don't help you build up your base. So, but I think I've got it to like a good point. And it was definitely a good idea to test it out a couple times, because the first time I tried it, I went into a map and I think only one of the visible ore deposits I could see in the map was actually like not for my mod, so I tuned the rarities number very far down, meaning that it's very unlikely that you're gonna have it generate normally as part of your world gen. And the same goes true of the deep drilling stuff, which I will need to go and test at some point to see how it like actually works out. That shouldn't be too hard, because the general, like, my general solution is gonna be that because there's so many ores and that get introduced through these mods, I want to keep the rarities low so that they're quite rare. But then when you do acquire them through like deep drilling or find them in like random gen, they at least spawn in large enough quantities that you can actually make usage of them. And the yield also should reflect that as well, so that they aren't just both rare and in, you know, low supply. Because otherwise it would be kind of useless, since you might not even be able to make like a single metal plate armor with the materials you get, or some other thing you might want to use it for. So that's one thing. And then the Medieval Overhaul mod introduces some new wooden types which I didn't originally notice, and I kinda don't like it. I really kinda don't like it, because the ones that get introduced through the mod are kinda OP. So it introduces some wood variants, and within that you can get a wood type that's called Ancient Wood, and its HP modifier stat is 2000%, meaning that even a granite, like if you use it for making just regular walls, even a granite wall is worse than this ancient wood. And I don't know how rare these wooden types are, but considering they're wooden types, I assume they're growable trees and you just need to be in the right biome maybe. Actually that's one thing I guess I didn't test, if I could actually grow them myself. Because although they are flammable, if you compare to vanilla Rimworld, they were just slightly more, the ancient wood was just slightly more flammable than steel. Comes from a specific tree that is crafted. Crafted? Or planted. Are you just reading that up, or do you know the mod so you can actually tell me what it is? Because that would be very helpful. Would save me some time for sure. Still can't build at ancillary down here? Okay. But yeah, I can't remember. There was also like one of the items that had like a ridiculously high beauty percentage modifier. And it's just like, why? Why do some modders have to implement some things that are just so overpowered that it blows everything out of the water? I don't understand. And true, my own mod might not even do a good enough job on that front either. But it is the goal, and I've barely even, you know, finished the mod, so. Compared to other modders that just release their things and then say like, that's just how it is. I do want to keep it updated at least. Got another small streamer variety that had that tree mod. Tree mod, this is not a tree mod. Plant the seed and then have to acquire specific items in order to actually grow the damn thing. I can show you which mod it is. Let's see here. Let's go over here. Rimworld. Most people would probably have noticed it, but it's this one, in case you're curious, which adds a bunch of stuff. Like the list is very long, right? Like these storage devices are pretty cool, but it's like very limited what you can store in them, and I don't know if you can configure them, but it does seem like they use LWM steep storage framework maybe. At least the UI that I have for that stuff was applicable to those. Yeah, it does like implements food cooking, implements, you know, plant growing, implements, right, hold on. I might have accidentally like activated my what the heck? Yeah, I accidentally activated my auto clicker when I shouldn't have. There we go. Log into Twitch. What? Oh, right. Oh well. But yeah, this implements a lot of weapons and armor. So you can do a lot of variety, but it also has like some production chain stuff in there. Like it implements its own version of bones, so can't use Rim of Madness bones because then all the things that get butchered drop 2 types of bones. The metals production chain only affects iron, silver, and gold ore, so it doesn't work with modded things. Then there's some work in progress stuff. It also adds its own biomes. Trees become transparent when there's a pawn item behind it. Sure. And it adds these biomes with these massive trees that take up the entire like field of view. But this page doesn't mention the ancient wood stuffs and such. There was also elven wood and some other things. And I'm pretty sure it was from this mod, so... What was this? Remetallized? It's mineable... Oh yeah, this adds mineable steel components and plasteel. Yeah, so this is not what I needed. Oh. There's an apothecary patch? Oh. I'll definitely need that. That's just for the biomes generation, it seems. I see. Well, anyways, general gist is that I probably just need to make like a patch myself so that it works with all the metal types that I have, because otherwise it's going to be like meh. So we're here. Let's try and use that range thing. Also just realized the colony is not paused. Ended up like spending a bit too much time off screen. Oh well, that happens, I can change the fucking keybinds for my auto clicker. I think that's what I'm gonna go for. Because I realized, and I don't know why I didn't think about it, but first, Muhu and Grim, you get some coins. But yeah, I don't know why I didn't realize it, but I did the brilliant move of binding my autoclicker to Control C, which for some reason I didn't consider is the shortcut you use for copying stuff. So when I copied that that message or that link for the workshop page, it like activated the autoclicker and did a bunch of stuff without me noticing it. But it's okay though. Okay. Back to Rise to Ruins, however. I don't know why I can't build an ancillary down there. Like, just why? I mean, this building's been upgraded. It's got 16 range, but this doesn't look like 16 range to me. I don't know, I could be wrong. Oh yeah, we've got a bottler now. I just need to assign some people to work there so that they can actually start putting water into bottles. And I guess we also want a kitchen around here. This range situation is kind of annoying though. I can't even put down a lumber shack. But these do generate like a much larger radius though. Let's try and putting down one of these, eh? And upgrading that will also improve our harvesting rates, as well as function as like a secondary, like out there storage, I suppose. Oh yeah, we need to queue up so that we can hire some catchy. What else do we want? We want to sell ammunition, which I don't think we have any of this stuff, but let's just queue a little bit of it up. And let's sell some refined resources just so our people don't end up doing nothing. Don't want to sell the iron though. A little bit of crystal too. Oh, right. Our lithium. Yeah, we're using quite a lot of that, but that's okay. To sell some of it, that is. Oh yeah, look at this fucking field now. We've got plenty of food. No problemo, Magger. Julio. A few more new trees down there as well. Okay, that finally updated the build range. I guess it was just bugging out or something. It's the only way I can explain that. I wonder if actually the fastest way to expand your area of influence is just by building lumber shacks. I mean, 32 range is twice that of a large fire pit, and it's a radius, I believe, not a diameter, so even though it takes up more space, it's like pretty significant actually. Let's try that. I mean, why not? Try something a little bit different for once. Not for once, but you know, we might as well. Make it a little bit interesting. Still use the golem strategy, because I don't see any reason not to, but do we want crystal combobulators here? And let's actually do both. Crystal. Yeah, we have more than enough build limit, so there we go. Time to build an army. Only upgrade one at a time, I believe, though. Yep. We'll need to do that. Take our villagers a little bit of time due to all the cut stone that's going to be required, but it's okay. Let's also queue up some house upgrades. We want to spoil our workers when they do finally get home from work. Housing. Okay, I believe we can also start digging holes. Let's get this one. Oh man. Bring flowers, get out of the way. Scene. Oh shoot, you're right. I clicked Rimworld by pure fucking thank you, mate. I clicked Rimworld out of pure pure habit because we were talking Rimworld. I guess that's just streamer thing. At least you said something. Surely though, my voice is also very entertaining. Oh, we have a little... Control B is what I changed it to now. I mean, the background is nice and all, but the game... Yes. Well, thanks for that as well. I did make it myself at some point. It's not exactly a new thing anymore, but it is like an old design that I've reworked a few times over the last couple of years. It was one of those things where I just made it to the point where it's like, ah, this is good enough for what I need it for. Okay, so we got this makeshift lumber shack now. We can just like build more of these, I guess. I think their corruption resistance areas also, yeah, well, look at this, holy shit. Like massive. Of course they're vulnerable to attacks, but I mean, you win some, you lose some, eh? There's so many people in excess at the moment. Or should we put them into waymakers? Waymakers, a stone cutter I foresee, and a carpenter would probably be nice. As we upgrade our roads, let's just go all the way up. Then our villagers can manage in what order they build it. This means that eventually it's going to be at least finished. Oh. Still around there. And another line going up. And across. Then we got these random roads here that were in place before we settled down. So let's just tear all that stuff apart. How are we doing on the trash side? It's doing okay, but I do want to upgrade it at least. That should give them plenty of stuff to do. And we can use the same trick with, or strategy of putting the priority on the lumber shacks higher so that they get built faster. I guess they are more expensive in resources, so... How much is it? Yeah, 21 rocks and wood. Compare that to a large fire pit, which is only 10 wood, so... Practically speaking, about 5 times as many as sources necessary as the fire pits, so... But it does mean that we don't have to go back and remove the buildings afterwards, because they can stay. We'll also upgrade them to actually improve the harvesting rate on these tasks. Okay, guess we just build an ancillary all the way down here. Yeah. And then we go into defenses and a recombobulator tower. Do like this, like this. Let's just make a trilithium wall, just to protect this a little bit. Nothing too crazy though. Can't build the other half yet though. It's a bit unfortunate, but you know, it's okay. This should be fine. Then we can also start looking at connecting this up with road. Okay. Let's tear some of this forest apart. So that way we can make a fenced sort of border. Just like this. Don't think we need to remove that tree, but I'm gonna do it anyways for good measure. They're just like delivering all the wood to these buildings because of how fast it's all been like accumulated. It's okay. Just means that we've gotten more than enough wood for all our golems. Let's look at some more upgrades though for our buildings. Let's cube all these suckers. Fence piece. Guess that does mean we also need a fence going from up here all the way down. There we go. Then I think we don't need a fence here because it would take like a very long time for the forest to sort of get to this point anyway. So what day are we on? Day 5, year 1. Okay. Let's go quickly back to the world map and see if there's anything there for us to pick up in terms of quests. And take it from there. Okay, there's a couple. Oh, we also got a loot box. Perk chest. Upgrade 5 static towers anyway. Oh, god damn it. Resurrect 8 ghosts anywhere. God damn it. Survive to day 30 on Sandy South. That's... God, that's like as long as we've already been there, basically. Minus a day. No. That would take forever to do. Could sort of do these two, the static tower and the ghost objective. Oh, we got a loot box anywhere. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, we could do technically those quests really quickly. Another map. Banish, spell cost. Okay. So where do we have a lot of people that we can kill? Coast Bridge. Hey, you didn't hear that. I promise I'm being as ethical as I possibly can. So, who wants to be sacrificed to a meteor? Meteor, where are you? There. Now we just need to find some people that we can throw rocks at. There's a good spot. There's a lot of commotion going on in here. Sure, it's gonna set some houses on fire, but you know, gotta crack some eggs to make an omelette. Omelette, not omelette. Okay, that's a good start. Looks like it was a bad decision to get out of bed this morning. You don't say. Getting struck by meteors over and over again is definitely a bad way to go out. Is there like an enemy or something that kills them? Or is that just... I might have killed some doggos as well in the process. So if you're a dog lover, I am so sorry. But this has had to happen. And then just because I don't want to like actually lose my buildings, because that would be annoying. We will also cast a min spell in this area. We actually almost destroyed the fucking Capitol building. That could have been bad, because that's a lot of resources invested in this building. A lot of bonuses that go away. Not too many things are stored in here, but it would take a while to rebuild at least. Okay, well, while we wait for it to go nighttime, we can build some static towers, upgrade them, and then demolish them, because we don't really need them. There was 8, so if we just build 8 and upgrade them once, that should do the trick, right? Fucking... Just imagine that really tranquil, relaxed music. Walking around minding your business, and then just a meteor swarm like homes in and single targets you. I'm a nice guy, I swear. Do we even have anything else that's worth doing on this map at the moment? I don't think so. Because the stone harvesting efficiency could be a little bit better, same with crystal, but honestly I don't think it's worth it. Oh, and it's the perfect night for reviving some ghosts, actually. That is very nice. So yes, this deity works in mysterious ways. I can't remember how many ghosts we needed to rest, though. So I might have to go out to the world map and double check on that. But let's do that in a moment. I think it has to actually turn... It's dusk right now. I think it has to turn night before the ghosts really pop out. But I don't know if, because I killed them all on this day, that I'll have to like wait another day. Because I seem to recall that's kind of what I experienced last time. Oh yeah, we are in winter. Still in year 1 on this map too. Which I think is like on day 30 something it becomes year 2. So we're still... Jeez, that's actually kind of wild, because the map after this we were on day 16. So that... Jeez, that means that the third map that we did almost got completed in, well, half the time that we did the second map. To be fair, this was also a little bit of a tricky map due to the water and terrain and stuff. But it's a full moon and the monsters are calm. The non-existent monsters are definitely calm. Okay, well, even though I'm skeptical about the ghost situation, we can still try and see if we can't find some at least. Wandering around slowly. Keeping my eyes peeled. It's also a very grotesque way of like saying that you're keeping an eye on things. Keeping your eyes peeled. Like, who wants to peel your eyes? Hmm. Oh, there's one ghost there. Oh, he turned into a freaking zombie. Oops. That does also happen occasionally. That's okay. Actually, that's a prime opportunity to test if that actually makes progress if they turn into zombies. Because I don't know, of course. It's not like every day you get to res someone. Okay, it does actually count. Nice. It was 8 ghosts, so we need to resurrect and have killed a total of 7 additional people in total. Okie dokie. Well, we didn't have to do it on Coast Bridge, we could do it on any map, but I figured since we already had the most people over here, we should probably just do it here then. Someone has been born, the circle of life, and that's another ghost. So that's another 6 required. Yeah, so we most likely don't have that many people that died in order to create the ghosts in the first place. Actually, does this... Wait, this spell also works on my people. I can just fucking... Fire, motherfucker! I don't know if it's that efficient, though. Burn, motherfucker, burn! Those structures are getting horribly damaged though. There's a little double doors. Double doors. What kind of surname is that? Oh geez, these buildings light on fire for a long time. Okay, maybe you don't want to like burn your houses down. Interesting. Okay, so though this spell... Oh, that's another ghost. That's free down. This is not going to be the last time we'll need ghosts, so we might as well... go a bit overboard. I don't think it's actually the... Is it because they're on fire and they walk in the building and they just spread it to the building itself? He was only 1 day away from retirement. Dog me to the doggo. It's a Fallout reference for you there. Okay, so we're still only on 3 ghosts out of 8, so... Any more volunteers? I do think they spread it from themselves to the buildings. That's kind of fucked. Like, everything just lights up in a blaze of eternal flame. So look at it this way, you guys get to come back as a fucking cool ass ghost. It's 4 down. 4 more to go. Is that that's dog meat. That's 3 more to go. Okay, so maybe it does happen a little bit faster than I thought. It could also be because it's type of night, so... Because this event here does seem to like generate ghosts more frequently. Which was very convenient given the circumstances. 3 more to go. Two more to go. 1 more to go. And that was the last one. Cool. I just need to upgrade all these buildings. Then hopefully those doggo ghosts also count towards the progress. Otherwise, that was natural causes, that wasn't me. Hands off. I swear. Another ghost. Oswald Cobblepot. Okay, let's see what the world map says. I think so. Ironically, we got cost reduction and the regeneration spell cost for killing a bunch of our own people and resurrecting them. Oh, it was only 5 static towers. My bad. Oh well. We'll be done with that soon, though. This is so actually just 1 more building. That would be such an annoying quest having to do if you didn't have the free roam to actually go and just build random shit like this. Like imagine you were in a dire situation on every map that you were on, trying to just survive, and then you get the message that, or a quest that says, oh, can you like upgrade 5 random static towers? Divine Blessing spell cost reduction. Oh, that's actually really good, because that spell is to cast as far as I remember. And it's used to produce Nephilim. So you basically cast it on your pregnant women and should get a Nephilim out of it. So how expensive is that again? Ooh, this one here. Yeah, it costs me 70% of my bar, so a 10% in cost reduction is pretty significant, I would say. Okie dokie, back to Stream Raiders. You guys are really killing it. 30 people. Or soldiers, rather. Let's just try with the defensive buff this time. Because these are all gonna swarm us. Yeah, apart from the people that kind of decide to go out and be a rogue and hero. Ooh, ooh. Ah, seems to be doing okay. Those beetles do need a lot of damage to go down though. Ooh. Oh yeah, that's it. I was like, what? Where are they all going? Is that stone in there? And who gets the lucky 20 coins? Let's again goes to Moohoo. Moohoo. Yep. Let's go and get this one. Just a bunch of high-level toads and a few of those beetles. Okay. Okay, game, let's see how you want to do this. Oi. This time I'll remember not to switch back to Rimworld, but Rise to Ruins. Okay, so we're back on this map. It's definitely raining a lot. I wonder if that's a feature of the map or not. It might be. Do I even need to grow the food anymore? Let's just go and spend some of our essence on our crops too. I would like to get some cost reduction on the Motivate Land spell though. That would be really nice. Or just duration. I wonder if you can upgrade the duration of it. Probably, because it's got duration. I think every single stat on every single spell is upgradable to a certain degree. Because you can't see the damage on the flame spell, but you can increase the duration, I guess, and reduce the cast cost and increase the radius. That would be so fucking cool. And I've already gotten a couple cast cost reduction perks for it, so it's like really cheap. Get that essence. Should probably dismantle this. Oh, it's an ancient radiance pool. I didn't even notice that. We can reclaim that. It's free essence, so why not? And it's right next to the essence collector, so I thought that was like some other building that was just trash, but an essence irradiance pool is just free essence. Oh, that's the wrong category I was trying to mark down. Dusk has arrived. Actually, let's get this combobulator built, because the sooner we do that, the less our villagers have to be like freaked out by enemies when it becomes nighttime. Comes a hitless zombie. He thinks he's hot shit. Skeleton is kind of level 5 though. Through that building in particular. Okay, okay. Jeez. Thank you, suckers. I didn't actually know that they would do that. May have just dropped a zombie in the middle of our village, but that's fine. I was like looking for a golem to take him out, but couldn't really find one. Come on, you lazy bums. Build this recombobulator already. Or another zombie decides to make it its snack. I guess I could do something a little bit different for once. Like I can actually put down a tower here. A magic tower. Think about it. You'll basically shoot at enemies that get close and it's just powered by energy. Does a decent amount of damage. Nothing too crazy though. You can only build it within your area of influence, so it's got its limited uses. It's good enough though. Does reserve all my essence, practically speaking, but that's okay. And then what you do is that there should be a... Not Dispel Golem, Dispel God Structure spell, which will show you with like a vector where the nearest... or where rather all your God structures are at, so that they don't end up getting lost. And the same goes for your Labor Golem spells and all the other stuff that you can find in there. Otherwise you would very easily get lost on where they go into things. I believe these towers also function as like what do you call it? Guard sort of posts. Okay, we do need to speed up the claiming of land though, so let's start on the fire pits. But yeah, because there was so much forest here, I was thinking it would be okay with the with some lumber shacks, because we can just mark some forest here, and then they should also harvest the local resources instead of just only over here. If it's closer to a lumber shack that's like practically speaking empty. Mm-hmm. We can use that increased wood gathering speed and like these wood collection outposts as well for building our fire pits, so it should be a win-win. Don't know for sure, but I'm pretty certain at least. One thing that I have noticed though is that the corruption does seem to spread outwards much more violently than on the other maps, because they've like been squished into such a tiny area here, giving them not a lot of options on where to go. They're just kind of like exploding out through this narrow chasm here. That has me a little bit worried that if I want to contain them, because they can still spread into the mountainous areas, they just don't prefer to do it if it takes them a lot of effort, so... One thing I am foreseeing though is that I might have to spread from both angles, or maybe even like close off like on the northern side first before going down to the south, to sort of allow them to spread over to the eastern side of the map. Because if I don't, and I cap it off in the bottom very early, they'll just try and expand northward, and as you can see, there's not much space in which I can go in and like reclaim at the moment, so... I tell you what, let's get the construct spell out. Let's do a little bit of microing here. You guys having fun? What do you mean, Muhu? I mean, I know I'm having fun. You'd always have to ask an individual. I can't speak for chat, but assume someone was watching. Well, there are some people watching where they're just not talking much today. Prophet is the only one that's, well, not the only one, he's the one that's been talking the most. It's an interesting game, yes. Okay. There's one. And someone I don't think I have seen before. Boy. Boy W? I don't know. Just call you boy? Maybe? Seems like a bit of a generic name maybe, but... Had a decent haul today in Sea of Thieves. Oh. Just boy is fine. Okay, then just boy it is. Without the just, of course. So, how much did you sell for, Muhu? 300,000 in one haul? Okay. But what about the doubloons, though? Those are what really matter. Until they don't matter. Ah, shoot, not enough influence. Yeah, eventually gold just becomes kind of useless because you bought all the things that you can do with gold anyway. So it just leaves you with, you know, doubloons. Hey, Greg. See, you're back. Yeah, same with doubloons, but at least they get more, like, put out more content that you can buy with doubloons, especially if you haven't played for a long time. You do also get, like, revisited things. So what I'm saying is that it's a better future investment to get doubloons than gold, I would say. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't really consider that going for skins is that interesting for me in Sea of Thieves. Because it's just vanity, right? So you get to like look cool, but then you get the skin and then what? Like, if you're grinding for it, then you almost don't feel like playing once you finally do get it. Double event on doubloons, what's that? Back in my day. Just played the game, goddammit. I think we need to upgrade these essence collectors. We need to spend our wood on something so that we can get some essence generated as well. Just look at stream raiders. There's double rep and double coins this weekend. Also something I don't really care about, but sure. Oh, did some of our houses get broken? No. It's just the ones that I planned maybe didn't get built because... Yeah. I think that's what happened. They were in the process of being built and then some zombie dickbag came by and punched it into pieces. Do a Phoenix Fortune because you haven't tried it yet? Oh yeah, that's right. They added those new Phoenix quests, didn't they? Because the old quests were kind of crap. It's just a mixed bag of random quests from all the different factions, and then you just gotta do the Merchants Alliance ones first, because if the time ran out, you wouldn't be able to complete the voyage entirely. Yeah. Yeah, that takes a while, but it's way easier now than it used to be, so that's at least something. We did some pretty funky strategies back in the day in order to get merchant's reputation, because that was like the hardest one to get. Now you can at least turn in like gems and all kinds of stuff, and you have more quest varieties or voyage variety, so it makes it a little bit more interesting. But what you would do is, and I'll try and see if I can get this right while also trying to expand our base here, but you would get in a group of 4 people, and one person, you would sail as a group in a galleon, of course, and then you would all go to, I can't remember which island, but it's on the southern part of the map, one of the ports. What are they called again? You know what I mean. Places where you can hand in resources, etc. And you would repeatedly accept merchants' quests to get all the animal cages, where you would accept a quest and then you would pick up the bird cages for the chickens and the snake baskets for the snakes. Outpost, yeah, that's what it was called. I don't know why I couldn't remember. But yeah, you would basically go to the merchant's thing after accepting a merchant's quest. If it gave you like snake and chicken cages, and then you would pick those up, and then you would cancel the quest, put those on your boat, of course, and then you would get a new one that would give you a quest for the same, and then you would repeatedly accept and cancel quests while intermittently like collecting these cages until you had about like as many as you wanted, really. But I think we did about 50 of about each, and you don't want to do the pig crates because they need to be fed, so you just skip those entirely. Then what you do, or what you would do, I don't think this is necessarily a strategy that's viable anymore, but then you would sail to, I can't remember which particular island, but it was like to the northeast of the like southern part of the map, so like somewhere around the middle in the eastern section, and it has both the chickens and snakes spawning on there, and you would go and collect the high quality ones. And the reason why is that you would collect them and put them onto your boat and stockpile them slowly and surely. So you would have like 3 people, you know, on land doing this stuff, and have one person maybe keep watch or something. And then eventually, you know, there would be no chickens and snakes left. So what you would do is that you would have the entire crew commit suicide and be in the, what do you call, on the ferry at the same time, and then you would all respawn after that, and all the chickens and snakes would be back. So you would be able to go and pick up some new ones, and you would only take the high quality ones, right? Because those sell for more. Then once you have filled up all your cages and stuff, you know, you would sail away. And it would get easier to commit suicide over time because you would be stacking all the snakes baskets in like the same spot, so you could use that as like a way to kill yourselves quicker. But eventually, once all the cages would be full, you would sail down south from there to an outpost, and then the entire crew would work together to offload all the cages to a safe spot on the island. There would be like a rock and a bush you could put them in, and no one usually would look there, so you wouldn't have to worry about other people. Just thunderstorms, but that's a detail I can get to later as well. Now, actually, I don't want to do that yet. So we want to encircle this corruption first. So once you'd offloaded everything, and you would of course keep snakes and chickens segregated, because I do seem to recall they would kill each other. The snakes would kill the chickens if they were too close. So, you know, that's just one little detail. And then once you were done, one of the crew would be left behind on that island, and the 3 remaining crew members would sail to another outpost that would be to the west of that island, within like render distance. You could see from one outpost to the other. It's a lot of work. It actually isn't really as much work when you know what it is. It's just a lot of details, and you need to, like, a lot of things to the method. But wasn't really that hard. And I'll get to like some stats, I guess. But you would leave one person behind, and then the rest would go to an island to the west of there, an outpost. And the reason why is that you need to go and accept new quests. Because you could sell the animals for profit, sure, but you wouldn't get as much out of them as you would if you did quests, which is where this comes in. So you'll go to the other outpost there, and then the 3 remaining crew members would start accepting Merchants Alliance quests. One at a like, just get as many voyages as you could, and then put them down on the table to accept them. And you would keep doing this, and then whenever you got a quest for the wrong place, you would just cancel it, because, and this is why you needed for the crew to be on a different island than where you dumped all the animals, because that other outpost could only generate merchant voyages to 2 different locations, one being where you already put down all your animals. So you would just keep doing this until you got a voyage for that island that would be requiring either, you know, high quality chickens or snakes. And depending on which types you caught, you could, you know, sell them for increased profits. So the last crew member would then go over and quickly sell all the stuff. So you would communicate back and forth like, okay, we need to sell this many of this and this many of that. And then you would wait for that person over there to do their job and report back that they would be done. And then you would repeat the process until you were out of things to sell. And it was like the fastest way that you could gain reputation with the Merchants Alliance. It was so fucking fast. We did it for like 2-3 hours or so, and I gained like 6 Merchants Alliance ranks from like already being pretty high. So it was pretty good. We did it in like 2 sessions, which gave me like, you know, 10 or so Merchants Alliance levels. The only thing about the method is that it's boring as shit. And then Rare put in like some mechanics to prevent you from continuing, or kind of to try and prevent you from doing it anymore. Like introducing the limit for how many voyages you could buy. But you could get around that really easily by just rejoining the crew, which is something we also ended up having to do. But yeah, you could just leave the game and then reconnect, and all your voyage limit would be reset. Kind of wonder if that still works, by the way. Because even in the base game, if you're not doing cheesy methods like this, we would at least skip all the voyages that didn't have, for like gold hoarders, we would skip all the voyages that contained very bad quest generation. So maps that were riddles we never did, and maps that didn't have at least 4 crosses on them were also things we didn't do. So whenever we would get a bunch of maps that had this kind of stuff, we would just cancel them. And the same way, we would also like only semi-complete the quests in the first place. Okay, this is not a good idea. think we need to build around this a little bit more, because the corruption is probably going to spread faster than I can build this. But yeah, I've experienced a little bit of this and that. Just did the tracking quests. The tracking quests, I don't know what those are. I know about the go and get a bunch of animals from this island quests, and the go and pick up resources here and transport them over there quests from the Merchants Alliance. But the last, honestly, the last levels that I got for the Merchants Alliance was after they introduced the gems into the game. So, because the gems were a part of the game now, all of a sudden, we, like for the last levels, I just ended up doing, you know, fortresses, honestly. And that was also, like, a thing we debated because one of my friends had already gotten Pirate Legend before us. And as a result, we also debated whether or not it would be worth doing the Athena's quests instead, because we would have to do them eventually, and you got the stuff for all the other factions anyway, so might as well get started early, because you can gain Athena's reputation before you even become Pirate Legend after all. So, you know, since they would just give you the same quests, why not do it earlier? Have to track a shipment which has disappeared, so they give you a route you have to follow, find clues and a key, and then lastly a wreck with a bunch of loot. Okay. Yeah, that is very different than any of the other quests, isn't it? Because I gotta say, the fucking dealing with the animals quest is just so boring. Also because, like, oh, you gotta feed the pigs, so the main problem is, generally speaking, the Merchants Alliance voyage is that if you can't really engage in PvP because your plants might need watering, your booze might get damaged, like if you take in water and stuff, like you just get diminished rewards, so you just want to get those out of the way as soon as possible. Oh, okay, well I guess we won't be talking about any Sea of Thieves then. Unless anyone else is wanting to chip in, but see you around then. Have a good one. Oh, you gotta get up early. Such seriousness. I got up pretty late today, so I'm not really anyway near tired at the moment. Oh, now I know what we need to buy. We need to buy freaking keys. Keys. That should probably do it. Also reminds me that I didn't talk of the tracking of the resources, but that's okay. I can do that now. And those and that. The iron ore. Then let's also see. Don't really care about keys, they're just kind of managing themselves. Bottled water. I think that was it that I usually do. Not really like you need anything else. Okay, so how's the resistance looking around here? Looking okay. Oh, and we've actually run out of build them at just at this point in time. Okay. I definitely need to get these essence collectors upgraded ASAP. 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 We can also spend some wood on these buildings. One of the main reasons why I even built it in the first place. And I think because we built those buildings up nearby here, they're gonna be the primary target for the enemy rather than circling around the back. Okay, we got a round of stream raiders though. Yeah. Let's just queue this up and prioritize it. Then the game can run in the background. I'm not too worried at the moment. You guys put down a whopping 28 units. Okay, let's go. While that goes, I'm gonna go and get something, not water. I'm gonna get something to drink at least. Are we winning yet? Oh, I see you're in here, Greg. Ooh. Oh, I like that archer skin, that looks really cool. Coolio. So, boy, you get some bomber scrolls. Hope you can make some use out of those. Wait, wouldn't this chest actually have been better? That was a gold chest. Fuck, I botched it. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Was supposed to go down that route. Okay. I do think I want to go like faster routes in like my future streams instead of what I did in the past, which was taking the longest route in order to get more chests. But I mean, we just do another map and then we can get the higher rarity chests more frequently. Do we just like put ourselves down on the left hand side of the map maybe? Hope this isn't more than enough space for you guys. They don't give you a lot of space on these maps. Okay. How are we doing down here though? I think we're doing fine. Do I want to build an ancillary somewhere else? Well, as usual, you will eventually get around to just plopping them down wherever you can because you just need that increased build limit. I have so many lumberjacks though, jeez. Well, I guess that's to be expected. So is it because we're not really out of materials. I think we just need some organizers to move our shit around. We can just assign some more builders, can't we? Another road in there. Dismantle this one. No point in our villagers trying to maintain roads that aren't going to be used. Okay, I mean, effectively we should have like a diagonal road going across there, but do you think... Oh yeah, we needed the build limit, didn't we? Do want to make sure that we don't get an accident happening here. So we just build the fire pit down there, and then the corruption is at least contained, with virtually no chance of them escaping and causing irreparable damage. Well, unless they go and backdoor us, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Enough housing for our people, but what about our doggos? Yeah, I thought so. We need some more doggo housing. Doggo! How about our mineral storage and stuff? Oh, right. Food stockpile. That's what I wanted to have around here as well. Equipment storage. Yeah. Let's put that there. Ammo storage. Need an ancillary. Story of my life. Or we could also just upgrade the large stronghold into a established stronghold. And then a small castle, and then a large castle. That would also work. So here grow some holy potatoes. Because the crops are really far away, being all the way over there. Okay, so let's just cut a line across here. It's time to remove all this crystal down in this direction as well. That will no longer be needed. Because you surprisingly don't really need that many crystals in this game. So even like a small field of crystals like this seems to be more than fine. Which is kind of odd with all the magic stuff going on, but that's just how it is. We're on day 7. Let's go and check the world map to see if there's anything going on out there. See if there's any quests that are unlocked. Oh. Well, we definitely did get a chest at least. Ooh, and it's a larger one. Yeah, so we do need to survive a couple days before checking again at least. What do we get? Oh, okay. Illuminate spell radius. Meh. Movement speed is really good. Second healing aura spell duration. Healing spell duration is okay. Don't use it that frequently. But the movement speed 5%. I did just like before we went in notice that it was at 7%, so that means that I got another one at some other point that only gave 2%, so this being 5 is pretty good. And it affects both our workers and our golems. So they're a little bit more speedy. I wonder how that scales with the speed bonuses granted from walking on roads. Other than the obvious thing of, you know, it going faster, but you know what I mean. Okay. I want to make a fence here so that the not crops, but the trees don't grow in and like ruin the road. Because if they grow over the road, the road makers kind of have to go and chop down a tree in order to make it passable again. And if the road isn't upgraded far enough, then it'll also destroy the path, which is not good. Fairly obvious. Oh yeah, and I forget that every time you go out to the world map that it resets your assigned priorities to things. which is kind of annoying. Really wish that that weren't the case. But it's probably just a bug that's been left in there because the dev kind of had like other real life priorities for a while. So I do hope that that gets sort of corrected at some point. Stream has lasted for 2 hours and I streamed before that for about 2 some hours. Okay. Just trying to like think about how long I've been streaming today. Because it is the weekend and I have been streaming more times this week than I normally would, but also fewer hours than I normally would. With the intent of like trying to get back into like a more regular like habit of streaming, but I don't know. It might stabilize once I'm done with the Rimworld modding stuff and I don't have to spend a lot of time on that anymore. But my life situation is also about to change a little bit in terms of social benefits and stuff because I am still unemployed. Because getting a job in the game industry is pretty hard. But that's kind of what I am good at, so when those opportunities just don't like happen, I guess, if you're not lucky, then that doesn't really help you. And as such, I've been pretty dependent on social benefits and such, which is basically just a fancy word for getting money from the government to sustain your lifestyle. But I'm a low spender though, so I can make by. It's just that the way that it works in Denmark is that we have like sort of 2 main groups of, well, there's multiple groups of social benefits. So like for instance, if you are like undergoing an education, you get like one group of these social benefits, which has a hard cap depending on whether or not you're living at home or if you're living by yourself. And the cap for if you're living outside on your own is not really that high. Like if I got that right now, it would barely cover my rent. Which for some people that have a harder time like grasping certain topics within science and stuff, might be a bit hard for them to like juggle both having a job and doing their studies properly, you know, and getting what out of that what they need. Because the thing is, once you get your education and graduate and all that stuff, you know, that's it. You've had your chance to get the most out of your learning experience. So if your grades aren't as great, by the end you might still pass. And you could have gotten more out of it had you had more time to focus on your education. That's of course, you know, just the way that I look at it and how I grasped my own education in the first place. Because, you know, you have the option, do you want to focus on your studies while that is relevant, or do you have to in some cases, or want to try and make a bit of money on the side? And I've heard from people that they start like they take like a year off after they finish basic like grade school stuff, and in that year they do like either a lot of traveling, or most of them like just take a year to like chill out and relax or whatever. And then there's those, which is probably a good chunk of people, that decide to go work for like terrible wages and stuff, but they do work anyways. And in some cases they get to the point where if they Like, it depends from person to person, but from what I've heard from people, they got to the point where it was really hard going back to social benefits in terms of budgeting and stuff, because they ended up getting like a completely different spending habit, either because they bought a lot of more consumables like booze and candy or food or whatever it may be, you know, clothes, you name it, expensive stuff in the big picture. So although they didn't have any running costs necessarily like rent, because they were living at their parents and such, they still got into the habit of spending so much more money than what's really feasible when you're on social benefits. To the point where they, like, some of them even went on and didn't get like further education because they didn't feel it was worth it. They would rather just continue working and like building up their experience that way and getting up into higher ranks in the work order in order to get a better pay, basically. Which is fine, like that's also a way to deal with it, but it does mean that you've kind of said no to a lot of opportunities in terms of, you know, getting a better understanding of the world that's out there. So yes, some people might not care about it, but I think it's important when building character, I guess, when like as a human, to figure out what's out there, because otherwise, I don't know, that's just my personal preference. And I assume there's going to be people that disagree with me, you know. Some people do just want like a simpler life. I don't know. It's a bit of a hard topic to talk about without like sounding like a douchebag that just has like a certain worldview and everything else is wrong. But just to clarify, that's not like the point. I do at least have the mindset that I don't want to be like misconstrued when talking about these topics. But I do find it very interesting though, because there's very different ways of going about like growing up and sort of establishing yourself in the world. And like for me, for instance, I never got like a job when I was younger, none that were paid anyways. I ended up, I've helped out like my mom on some side jobs that she had to do over a period of time, because I was curious and I wanted to help her out, but also because I wanted like an opportunity to make some kind of money just to get the feel for it. But it was only very rarely, and you know, I probably didn't do as much work as, you know, would be expected of a fully grown up person. But I did at least try. And then I also ended up getting into LARPing communities, and the local one, of course, where I eventually got into the scenario group and got involved in, well, all the stuff that's required to run a LARP community. Well, most of the things at least. I was mostly just mostly helping out with planning out the campaigns and delegating work and, you know, keeping track of everything being covered and that kind of stuff. So basically, you know, the guy that makes sure that we get everything done, but also does a little bit of work himself. And then of course also playing an NPC, which was an important part of being in the scenario group. And a bit of world building as well. Fits very well with wanting to be a level designer, so that's kind of also what I wanted to do there. That was a really good time, but obviously, you know, unpaid work. You're just doing it because you like to do it, and because you get to hang out with awesome people. And that's also where like a lot of my now friend circle is like come from. People that I met through LARPing and organized LARPing along with. Don't see them that often these days, but I do definitely keep them in mind very frequently. because that's probably been like one of the best parts of my teenage years, I guess. Because at the end, grade school fucking sucked. Everyone was just like not being acceptant of people like me in the class. Because I was a bit of a weirdo, I guess. Started listening to metal. Started doing LARPing. Didn't hang out with the other people in class. Didn't want to go out drinking because, well, for one, I basically never got invited as far as I remember. Sure, when I did get invited, I would also occasionally or usually say no because I'm an introvert and have always been. Which, you know, with a more recent friend circle and stuff, you know, it was way different. Like after I started on like high school and stuff, it changed because people were more acceptant. So even though you also said no very frequently, there were the occasions where, you know, okay, sure, I'll come. It's just, you know, when you're an introvert or you don't really feel like going out that frequently, there's gonna be a lot of no's in there, and some people I guess just can't handle or deal with that, so they just stop asking. Maybe is the point. But eventually, like, I got some really good friends and also ended up like actually going to parties and stuff. But in grade school, man, that was like, fuck. I couldn't wait to get away from there in the last like 2 to 3 years. Because it's like you go into grade school until you get to 7th grade. And as far as I remember, around there you kind of get forced into rotating around into a different, like you get forced into a different class with a bunch of different people that you might never in your life have talked to. So like in my case at my school, all the what do you call it, like grades, I guess, like 8th grade, 7th grade, 5th grade, etc. had like 3 sub classrooms. So we would be like divided into an A, B, and C classroom, and those would be your classmates. And from 1st grade, or like from the start all the way up to 7th grade, you would have the same like main teacher, you would have the same secondary teacher, that's also a thing, that you would get used to and they would get used to you. And you would also, you know, be in the same class with the same people for all those years. And then you get to the 7th grade where they just decide to do a big jumble around where no one gets a say. So if you had like a really good friend in school, in grade school, that you just couldn't like manage without in your class, you might just be put in a different class altogether. I do believe that it wasn't completely random, of course. My assumption is that the teachers would take a look at what they knew about their pupils and like their social relation to each other inside each classroom, and try and sort of build a profile around everyone to try and make the most out of it. I don't know exactly why they do it like that, because why at the 7th grade? Because over here that's like around when, you know, you're in your teenage years and your hormones and everything else is just like kicking up in gear, and kids start doing really strange and dumb shit. So why would you like stress the situation of growing up even more by completely throwing their entire reality at that point, mostly, which is school, you know, go to our so many days to go to school so many hours a day that it's like, at least for me, was a big part of my youth, right? So why would you fuck that up? I don't know. My guess is that they want to like prepare you for real life or something, maybe? Or because they're worried that kids feel that school is getting stale at that point, like at that particular point, so they want to try and like freshen it all up by maybe making it like, you know, your surroundings different by including different people. But I don't know, I just felt that it completely fucked up my like will to like be present in school. Like I had a lot of days where I wasn't at school. It was kind of crap, but you know, school isn't all wine and roses. Did also have some incidents where I definitely felt like I was being bullied, but I don't know if being bullied was necessarily like the technical term you would use for it. It would more be about like, I don't know, like you don't get invited to things. People in your class don't talk to you, and because they don't talk to you and they don't hang out with you, they kind of build up a lot of, I don't know what you call it, like they just change in a different way than you do, and their whole way of being and interacting changes along with it. So whenever they're trying to like interact with you, starve to death. You have plenty of food, what the hell? Chances are it's probably your fault. But like people just change, and you get to a point where you just don't want to hang out with them anymore. To the point where you just kind of want them to leave you alone, because you start building up your defenses, and it gets to that point where every time they basically talk to you, you're like, no, go away, or leave me alone. Because you're worried that every time they want to talk to you, it's negatively loaded in one way or another. Fire elemental. It's gotta be down here. Yeah, definitely down here. Gotta like, get rid of some stuff. Oh, there's a ghost. No, that's a specter. It was a ghost. Makes sense though, these fire pits are very close to the boulder border, so let's burn some stuff away. But yeah, I don't know if you've ever experienced something like that, but in the end, at least, it didn't result in me not wanting to go to school anymore. I started like getting a lot of, what do you call it? I ended up like skipping class a lot, which I also didn't tell my mom because I was afraid of how she would react and stuff. Because at the time, like, because my dad had passed away, she was like in a situation where she had to leave like early in the morning before I had even gotten out of bed and had to get out of bed, which meant that I ended up having to get out of bed in the morning on my own, make my breakfast on my own, not a soul in the house because we didn't have any pets either. So I had to like completely, you know, manage myself basically all day, go to school and everything. And that just opened up the window for the option that said, let's just not go to school today because I don't want to. Which obviously, you know, in terms of learning stuff was pretty bad. Like I ended up with a not going to class like 30% of like a year or something. And in high school it got even worse because I don't know, I was probably getting tired of school. You know, why even start high school and stuff, but it's because I really wanted to continue my education immediately and just get it over with. Even though it takes like, you know, several years. But in high school as well, I ended up getting to like 50% or so. of, you know, of absence on some of the years, which are obviously reflected in my grades on courses that weren't graded at an exam. Very important detail. On the exams that I was graded, went okay. For as okay as it could have gone, having been absent for like 50% of all the classes. Gotta say and admit though, most of the classes that I did skip were also like society classes. We have like a type of class over here where they teach like politics and stuff, and I just felt that that was like the most boring, useless classes that you could ever have. Sure, politics are important. Sure, learning about like the political system is important, but the classes themselves were just, I don't know, talking about shit from the past. So it was more like a history lesson about politics, obviously with the idea to like explain the origin and subsequent way in which different regimes work and stuff. But then there was the debates that people in class started having with each other about useless shit that didn't relate to the subject matter at all. We got graded based off that stuff. We basically, oh, that was the wrong spell. Shit. Not recall, not holy potatoes. We need the min spell. But yeah, you got graded for participating in class, because we didn't, like at the last year when going up to our final exams, it was kind of random whether or not you would get pulled into an exam or not regarding certain classes. But let's do Rise to Runes first. No, not Stream Raiders. Give it up before I continue talking about that, because that's a bit of a complicated topic and doesn't really fit well with having a battle going on in the background. Let's try and put this down here though, because we should make it about halfway there before all the enemies on the other half of the map. And oh, I didn't even notice all the units on the bottom of the map. Meh. We've got like, how many in this? We've got 22 right now, but how many were placed? 28. Jeez. No. Yeah. Or was that before? It might have been before. I digress. These were level 1s? I thought they were level 10, some of them. Well, we made it anyways. And Greg, you get a Barbarian Scroll. Get that sucker upgraded when you get enough. Tend to do pretty well. And then a random, well, a bit lost is maybe an understatement. Level 10s and 20s. Okay. Well, let's get rid of those there first. Guess ranged units do better against toads, so consider that if you will. Well, let's go back to Rise and Ruins and the Danish education system. Dun, 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 dun. So going back to what I was saying, you basically got graded based off of the whole participation in class, and it was randomly drawn whether or not you would be sort of, if you were supposed, whether or not you were supposed to go to an exam into different topics. This society-based classes was one of them, and lo and behold, one of the classes that I had the most absence for out of all the classes was the one that we didn't get pulled in for, meaning that instead of being graded based off of our actual present in time knowledge, it would be based off of an assessment that would be based off of the last year's worth of participation, not even like for all 3 years. It's like the education I took was 3 years. And as a result, our teacher failed me in that class because I hadn't been participating in class when I was there. Whereas like every time I was there, 60% of the time probably was just people talking over each other, trying to debate a topic, and the teacher just like letting it happen, because being able to argue your case and have an opinion was an important part of the class. Which I get, you know, the whole point of having this class in the first place is so that people don't grow up and go through the education system and everything, but just end up being a bunch of sheep that can't like have an opinion on things. That was like the main takeaway from the classes. But I don't need a class to teach me opinions. Sure, you can use classes to like sort of edge people towards being better at arguing with others, like making good arguments and stuff. But everyone, like, opinions are like assholes, as people say. Everyone's got one. So it's like beyond that, in terms of making a valid point and arguing stuff while still being civil about it, that's just as much upbringing as it is like education. Oh, that's why they're starving, is because they're getting stuck behind this fence. Well, I think I saved them. Oops. My bad, guys. Not my bad, guys. But yeah, that was like, I got so mad at that, especially because literally a week before we got our like final tests and stuff that we had to do, we did a test through this society-based class stuff where we were supposed to like, it was treated as if an exam, and our teacher also would go in and, you know, evaluate us properly according to everything and give us a estimate of what our grade would be if it had been a real exam. And we had switched into the, what's it called again, the 7-point scale? I think it is 7-point scale, grading scale. Yeah, that's what it's called, which is like let me just share that with you guys. Looks like this. So these are our gradings on the left hand side, and this is the equivalent ECTS mark on the right, so it's compatible. And I got a 10 in that fucking class that I had 50% absence for. I got a 10 on the simulated grade. And then he goes off and gives me a -3 at the actual exam evaluation. Like, what? Just what? I was like so fucking mad at that. The good thing is that you don't need it in order to continue your education, especially not for where I was going. All the requirements I needed were that I needed to have math on at least B level, I believe, and I had it on A level because I wanted to challenge myself. Also passed that with a 7, which is okay. As far as I remember, it was a 7 at least. I believe it was. I was more happy to just pass it and didn't care too much about the grade at that point, because I've always had trouble with maths. Doesn't mean that, you know, I don't want to do them when it like helps me and I have to at least. But man, school was such a fucking pain. And then I decided to do university straight after. Talking about good optics on my end, right? I did pass that as well. I mean, you can definitely do it. And I wanted to do it for a couple of reasons. First, because I wanted to get as many tools into like my toolbox of knowledge that I could before, like, you know, challenging myself with real world problems. And I wanted to really do video games, so I was thinking, okay, well, I already know a little bit of level design and game design as like having done some stuff like in my spare time. Like, yes, I was staying away from school a lot, but I was also using and investing a lot of those hours into actually learning other things that I just would rather do. So I ended up like teaching myself level design by just making community-based maps and stuff. And then eventually like got the realization that this is like really what I want to do. Make video games, preferably level design, but just video games in general would be more than fine for me. I was looking for like towards, okay, what kind of education opportunities can you sort of get that would improve those skill sets and your chances, most importantly. Now, I was first looking at like, okay, what kind of direct educations would there be? And when I was looking at it, I couldn't find anything, and no one at the like my school or anywhere would like know anything either. Not even the people that were supposed to know any of this stuff really like guided me properly when I did ask about it, which, you know, didn't end up being a lot because I realized that they didn't know jack shit, so why ask when they don't know anything? So it ended up being like, okay, well, what about architecture? Was like the first thing that was on the table because it was the most thing similar to making, you know, level designs. But then I started reading up on it and I was like, okay, well, though the whole thing of architectural design might help me in level design, it wouldn't really prepare me for anything else than like building structures in a simulated environment, or however you want to put it. And as such, didn't really strike me as the most fitting education I could possibly take. And I never got told about any particular like game development specific educations either, which do exist in Denmark. I just didn't know about them until a few years ago even. And I've even been told that, oh yeah, those like existed for a long time. It's just, I guess no one down where I came from knew about them or shared it with me, or what do I know? Circumstances are many, but you know, it's just what it ended up being. And it's just such a shame because I feel that that would have been way better than what I ended up doing, but you know, it's kind of too late to go back and change your whole life at this point. Other than starting a brand new education again, just for the sake of maybe getting a better shot at landing a job, which, I don't know, wouldn't really be feasible either, because I would have to go back on social benefits and that lower tier one, which is only for like education, people that are doing educations, as far as I know. Since the other one requires you to not be on an education and also be applying for jobs at the same time. Which is actually what this whole talk even started about, I guess. But yeah, like my personal situation is that I'm moving away from that, or rather, to try and explain it better, I guess. So once you finish your education, like in my case, I could go over on social benefits that were of a different type than what I had before. And it was, it's like, in terms of straight up being like how much I'm getting paid out every month is almost double that of the basic one that you get as like while you're under education, which is just insane. Because that implies that people that are done with their education have automatically doubled their expenses just from the fact that they have an education, which, to be fair, at a certain point is kind of true. Once you get a job, you get more money to spend around, your spending habits change, and you might invest in stuff like having a car and that kind of thing. But most people around here, at least, and in most parts of the world, end up either end up getting a driver's license and potentially even a car before they even move out from home. Or some people do, rather. It depends a little bit. Most of my near friend group didn't do that, but that's for sure a thing. And if not, then at least within the first couple of years after they move out. But here's the thing, they differentiate between you whether you're 30 years of age or not. And if you're 30 years or older, you get a higher sum of money as a payout. Can't remember how much it is. It depends on a couple of factors like what institution you're in and such. But that's the general gist of it. And the group or institution that I'm currently getting my social benefits from is one in which you can only be in for like a limited amount of time, after which you get put into like a smaller payout group that is like directly funded by the government, I guess. I don't know exactly where the money comes from in the different institutions, but like I actually have to pay money to the people that I'm receiving money from, which is kind of weird because I am paying them money back that I'm receiving from them. It's also, you have to pay taxes off of your social benefits, even though you're getting it from the government that you're paying taxes to, so not exactly sure why that is, but you know, any kind of income is taxed regardless of where it comes from. So it's probably just for them to have a unified system or something to the tune of that, at least. But anyway, the thing that's changing in my life is that I've been on this other social benefits system for too long now, and will be running out on the social benefits from that institution within the end of this month, basically. And as a result, there's like some bureaucracy that has to happen in order for me to move over into the other group and still get like social benefits so I can pay my rent and shit. And I'm a little bit freaked out because I don't know exactly how much money I'll be getting and what it means for my what do you call it, quality of life, I guess would be the word, because I already have fairly low spending habits, I would say. I rarely get to see my family because I have to like spend a really large sum of money just to take a train ride down to visit them. I don't have like many expensive spending habits at the moment. Sure, I occasionally buy some relatively like expensive stuff that I invest into, but it's not like I've got a car or anything that I need to like maintain and stuff. And I don't really spend too much on food either. I don't go out drinking ever. And I'm worried about whether or not like I'll be able to even survive with the amount of money I'm getting next, because the information on that is like so, like, you can get it, but it's tricky to acquire, and even if you would get some kind of indicator, it does seem to me like it's unsure as to whether or not it would be a, you know, a precise estimate of what you would actually be getting. So instead of worrying about it, I've just been like ignoring that thing out of my mind so that I didn't stress out about it, because it doesn't really help you to constantly have this kind of stuff, you know, bogging you down. But here's the other thing. Shoot, now I lost my own train of thought. I was just about to continue it. Crap. Oh, what was it again? Oh yeah, here's the thing. Because of the pandemic, the duration for my current social benefits period has continuously increased. And I mean continuous, meaning that when the epidemic happened, like over a year ago, right? I was 2 to 3 months away from my social benefits of running out. And ever since, I've gotten to the point of like, there's a month or half a month left of social benefits, aka of me having to switch into this other system, which is something you have to do manually. And then like, you get a message that, oh, we're extending the period by 2 months. And then you have a sigh of relief. 2 months go by and you start stressing out again because you're about to run out and you don't know if you need to like talk with your job center and all that stuff about moving over into the other system, because sure, you need to focus about getting a job, but how can you focus on that kind of stuff if your entire living situation is totally fucked? Potentially, at least. So I just kept getting like stressed out over it, to the point where I like lost motivation for doing anything, because the job market doesn't want to give me a job. In terms of my applications, at least, they all say that they continue with other candidates over me. The job center hasn't really been helpful in terms of really going anywhere, and it just feels like you're not going anywhere in this kind of economy or world situation where all the better educated or better established people are getting all their jobs instead of you. And you just get to this stage where every time you want to need to write a job application, it's like half-hearted and stuff. And you don't know like if your money is going to be extended by another month or 2 or 3. And it happens so late that you don't get to like ever relax and like figure out, you know, your actual situation. Does that make sense? It's a bit of a weird subject, but it does affect me a lot, of course, as you can imagine. So, and ever since I finished university, I kind of tried like a lot of different things, both in terms of strategies, but also in terms of like what kinds of jobs I would apply to, because I wanted to like broaden my horizons to not be like too nearsighted as well. So when I first ended up being jobless, coming out of the education system, my first thought was, okay, let's start with some game-related job applications and apply everywhere I could to all the developers inside our country but also outside, trying both smaller and larger companies, eventually moving over into unsolicited applications as well, all the things that you would imagine, and trying to work on my CV, of course, in terms of appearing as a more fitting candidate. And I barely got any like replies, nor did I barely get any interviews even, and the interviews that I did get didn't result in a job because reasons. And yes, I do mean reasons, because some of the reasons were like kind of weird, without going into detail, because I don't want to like shit on the companies that might employ me later, of course. But they had their reasons why. They probably just weren't sharing, and it seemed like semi-random from my perspective. But anyways, so that not working out meant that I went on and tried looking at other opportunities. Okay, well, if game development doesn't want me at the moment for some reason, then where can I apply? And then I was thinking, okay, well, IT or programming related positions, so that I could also make use of my multimedia experiences and programming experiences while also developing them further, was kind of my hope. Because software development is not exactly the same as programming video games. It's a bit of a different ball game, so you gotta like be prepared for that in order to sort of, what do you call it, thrive in such a work environment, I guess. But it's okay. And that also didn't work out. So then what do you do? When none of the things that you're applying for like works out and trying out, then the job center wanted me to like broaden my horizons even more. I was like, okay, well, what do you have in mind then? Because I mean, sure, I can apply for just any job out there, but I don't exactly see myself as like a fisherman or something, like completely so distant from anything IT or software development related that it doesn't even apply any kind of experience. So they wanted me to like get a forklifts driving license or forklifts license and stuff, or rather not that, but they wanted me to like apply for logistics related jobs, which I did for a period, tried it out. Didn't give me any results, because as it turns out, you basically need a driver's license and a forklift's license in order to even be considered for those kind of jobs, even though they, as a job center, put it the jobs are only you like having to print out a blanket, chuck it on like a box, and put it into the right thing. Like, I felt like they were really explaining it to me as if I were a child that didn't know what to do about my life, which kind of true, but doesn't mean that I want to be treated like a freaking infant. That's just how it was. Probably because they didn't want me to feel scared from trying out something that might be a completely different ball game than what I'm used to. So, but it's like, I mean, I've learned a lot from being unemployed for a long time and talking with different people at the job center, of course, that have switched out in terms of guiding me, but also other people that are unemployed and just generally talking about the topic and stuff, and giving me different understandings on how like that split between how the job center views the world versus how companies view the world versus, yeah, everything basically. Because there's a huge difference in how those different like bodies of people like view the world. And it's kind of crazy to me. To the point where you could write, it feels like you could write your CV in any which way you wanted to and it would still be wrong according to some people. like that's been my experience so far, at least. Which is crazy. Like, if you're supposed to be hired somewhere where you're supposed to like guide other people in how to write CVs, you should fucking know your shit. But I guess it's impossible to know your shit when different companies say different things. So, what quests did we get? Enchanted shoreline. No. That's almost 500 enemies that don't ever spawn on that map. So that's impossible for me to complete. I don't want to bother resurrecting ghosts. Upgrade 5 outposts anywhere. We can do that on Springland. Let's do that. Wait, did we get a chest? I don't think so. Nah, we'll check it next time. It's not like god perks are imperative, like, to survive when you already have a bunch. Then just one god perk doesn't really break the camel's back or anything. I guess that wouldn't really be used in that context. You would use it on something negative, eh? Ranger stations. Those are in civics, I think? Or are they defense? Defense? Food. Has to be food there. Ranger's Lodge. Oh, outposts. Okay, so just these things. We'll just make 5 and upgrade them, I guess. I think you can upgrade one multiple times as well. That would also be fine. But I think it's faster to just make the makeshift ones and then upgrade them all at once. Or at the same time, rather. In terms of like easier in terms of me managing it. But yeah. It's been a bit weird, like trying to find a place in this world in terms of like finding a job and stuff. Like I also tried for a period of time to see if becoming an independent developer would be the way forward. Even got to the point of like going for like, I'm saying like a lot, going for a sort of government funded project or something to the tune of that. It was all about innovation, like creating your own company and stuff. So they would start out by spending a period of about a month or so where you would have kind of like classes, but they were supposed to be like more in tune of a workshop where you would learn different aspects of running a business. So you would talk about business models and you know, anything in terms of creating your brand and having a social media account, everything you could imagine. And of course also how to pitch an idea when talking with investors and so forth. And it was also an opportunity to meet other people that were also creating their own companies, or had maybe already started making their own companies with some grade of success. And then there was unfortunately a filtering process in which you would be filtered out, which I ran out in the first period, but I can talk about that in more detail later. I think we have to pause that because those graveyards need to be dealt with before we lose all our people by accident while watching Stream Raiders. So let's do a defensive buff. 33 units, you guys are insane. Dude. Let's go. Damn, there's a lot of people in here. Hey, I see Sistra. Ooh. Well, doesn't seem like we're having any trouble with this one. And there we go. Drachenheil. Dragon Hail. P. Or LP. I think. Greg, you get a healer scroll, and boy, you get 2 barbarian scrolls. Good on ya. Let me just collect these so that I don't end up getting like into a situation where I keep forgetting that. Okay, so we have 1 golden chest and then the loyalty chest reward after that. So stick around for at least 2 more rounds. Oh god, that's a lot of frogs. Toads. Toads, not frogs. Okay. Protect me, squire. Here you go. Definitely. I hope I put down enough vibes for you guys. There we go. Back to Rise to Ruins. But yeah, so I participated in that, and it was very educational. Like, I learned a lot of stuff. Things that if you just spend like a few minutes thinking about it and you are a straightforward, logical person, you would probably be able to deduce the same like end result, understanding that some of these teachers or whatever you want to call them were communicating. And there were some interesting people amongst there as well, like in terms of the classes. Speaking about the my classmates, I guess you would call them, but also competitors, which is important to note. But you know, I think it's more important to be educational and have like a moral of interacting with people and like learning from them in return, rather than just sticking to yourself in this situation. Because the way that the program worked, and probably still does, is that there were 3 rounds, or was it 2? I think 2 rounds of filtering, where you would spend the first month getting a lot of insight through all these workshops and stuff. And then after this period, you would prepare a pitch that would be put forward for a panel of various different kinds of people that were already running successful businesses in different capacities. Which obviously makes it a little bit strange and weird when you're trying to pitch a video game idea to people that you have a hard time finding information on. And then when you do, those that you have found information on turns out to be people that have probably zero understanding of what a video game barely even is. At least that's the impression I got in my case. Which doesn't put you in any favors from that side, because you have to spend more time. I felt that you had to spend more time explaining things that in any other relevant context would immediately be understood by a game developer or anyone who has to do with games in particular. At least that was that's what I assume. But it was very helpful and educational nonetheless. And the point of the filtering is that there's also money involved. So had you gone on to the second sort of step in the process, you would have been given a budget that you could have used for consultancy sessions. So you didn't just receive a sack of money for your company. The money was like a budget that you could spend for like consultancies with experts or whatever to help grow your business, but not be fed into your business. Which means that by the end of the program, if you ended up not spending this money on anything, it would just go on to the next group of people that would be put through this process. Which is, you know, cool. So, you know, I don't think anyone did it for for the money, let's say like that. And since all the classes were in the first segment of this whole process, I guess you would call, meant that even just participating through the first segment was enough to give you the most out of the whole process. And like experienced as well. So, you know, all the stuff that I learned, no one can take away from me. And I'm not missing out on that either because it's already been taught. So, and as far as I know, if you moved on to like later stages, it was more about you getting time to develop your business rather than actually getting more insight, because you should already know everything you would need to, and then you could use the consultancy money or whatever on particular things that you maybe want to know more about. Or if you just need someone to help you put out like a more professional business plan and stuff. Because of course the idea is that you would know about it, but not necessarily be the person to carry out all the things that you learned about. I mean, sure, I could do business models and stuff, but in order to like, if I'm a solo developer or whatever, creating my own company, but for the amount of time we spent doing it, sure, it didn't really take that long, but also I would rather spend that time developing video games, because what good does a business plan do you if you don't have a vision or a project you can do or even show? At least with game development, when it comes to that side of things, to me it seems more that the show and tell method works better than just telling alone. Could be wrong, I mean, you know, but it was so frustrating being into that pitch, because my game was like a niche shot, is like I mean, it's still out there as like a demo and stuff, but it's a niche genre, and if they already don't understand basics of what a video game is, you know, how am I gonna explain to these people within a limited amount of time the concept behind the game and why anyone should care, if half of the whole talk is like me spend time explaining what the genre is all about in order for them to understand what market lies behind it and why I would want to target that, maybe. Except when you have a good, subjectively good video game idea, you never think about you know, the end users, who they're gonna be, down to like age and gender. Unless you start from that perspective, of course, which I didn't. I happened to have a video game that I had been working on, and I wanted to try and push it further, because there's some limitations when you're unemployed in terms of what you're allowed to do on paper as well, which actually also related to some of the interesting acquaintances I had during the program I participated in. Because like, you're not supposed to be like, you're not allowed to run your own business while you're under social benefits, because that could give you like a source of income, and that income needs to be taxed. Like, and you're spending your time working on something that might not go anywhere instead of getting a job. Like, you need to go out and get a job, not make a job. That's like the impression you get, at least over here, which I don't quite understand. Also, just to rant a little bit more on that, in Denmark, there's like in order to get your social benefits, you need to apply for an average of, I think it is currently 6 jobs a month. Doesn't matter when during the month you do it, it's just in between a month's worth of time you have to have applied for a total of 6 jobs on average, meaning that that you can apply for one job one day in a month, and then just like at the end of the month or something, you could apply for the remaining 5 if you really wanted to. You know, you've got flexibility. But and here's the thing that I don't understand. Jobs that you apply for that are located outside of Denmark do not count towards your threshold for receiving your social benefits. Actively meaning that they do not promote you for applying to jobs that are outside of your country, which is a big problem with the game if you're a game developer, because there's not many companies in Denmark you can apply to in terms of jobs that would be relevant. So, you know, most people will say, well, have you tried going global? And, you know, I have and had no success. But I'm also not motivated to keep looking outside of my country, because I also have to apply for these other jobs, and they also get on your ass if you don't apply to them properly. So they have to be sincere, you know, applications too. So you can't just use a carbon copy template every single time necessarily and keep them satisfied in terms of fulfilling your quota. So yeah, you're not technically allowed to try and like start and run your own business, because then they will pull all your social benefits retroactively as well. Meaning that if they figure out you've worked on a project that is now profitable, or whatever, anything that comes into their radar, right? If they figure out that you've been working on this for the last 6 months, like half a year, they will get on your ass and require you to repay those 6 months worth of social benefits that you received, because you technically weren't eligible for it and lied. And you would probably also get some kind of fine, I don't know. I haven't looked into it because I don't really want to risk that kind of stuff. Even as much as I want to make video games, it, you know, that shit does kind of scare me, because I don't want to be like in a economically challenged situation because of that. Because then it doesn't really, like, that's also just self-destructive, where it's like, oh, now you have a successful business and you have, well, not necessarily successful, but you're going somewhere with a business. You might be able to sustain yourself off of some kind of income. But let's just like make that unsustainable by like, you know, enforcing stuff due to the way that the system works. Yeah, I don't quite understand. Why do they have, why does it have to be like so strict in terms of where you apply? And why are you not allowed to try and run your own business? Especially if you're in a line of work where everyone that you're applying to, that's how they started their business. It's just that I wasn't lucky enough to be part of a group of people at like university or anything that ended up establishing a company at the end of their studies. Which I know people that ended up doing that, not necessarily continuing on for long, but I do know people that did that. Went on and established their own studios. Some even like released a title and stuff. But I mean, they also had like the head start because they managed to do some stuff while they were working on the studies. Used like a semester project as like the prototype sort of period, or whatever you want to call it. Like they use their semester basically to try and also develop a game that they could eventually monetize on, which, you know, definitely do that if you can. if you have the time at uni and stuff, I would definitely start developing stuff already, even if you don't get to do it very often. Because that's also what I myself and some friends, or mainly just a friend, ended up doing. We started like developing stuff in our off time outside of university, but he unfortunately ended up losing interest in the game development scene and wanted to just only do hardcore software development, which, okay, that kind of sucks, but you know, it's your choice. So it kind of left me in the dust with no one else to pick up the programming task for our two-man team, because I was doing all the artwork and like technical art related things. Both that and of course game and level design. We both did game design because we agreed on which things we wanted in there and how to do it and what we wanted it to be and such. A project that, you know, I ended up just completely dropping when he said that he wasn't going to continue working on it. Turning it into something else, and subsequently that prototype that I mentioned, which actually I can show you if you're curious, because it does exist out there. Let's see. You can just go to itch.io and download it if you're really curious. It hasn't been updated since it came out, but it does exist here. Very easy to find. It's just called Monster Stone. But this is what I worked on. Do we want to watch a trailer for that? I don't know. I can do that. Not necessarily many people here, but let me just put this. Yeah, I don't really need the. It's got background music, but you know, I'll just mute that. I can post it in chat too. I'm just realizing now how blurry this thing is as well. But yeah, it's like a resource collecting game that I was working on. Oh jeez. Black and Cat is raiding with a party of 1. Hello there, Cat and Black and Cat. I don't think I've seen you before. What were you streaming? I'll just pause this video. I don't think I've not Cat with a C. What am I doing? There we go. Ah shit, I need to log in. Hold on. Because I did some stuff with my Twitch earlier today. Password was incorrect. Shoot. Let me just get some things correct. Hello, first time raiding you. It's playing Rise to Ruins. Oh, okay. I want to give you a shout out just because. Let's see. Just for good measures. So that will tell me that you were playing Rise to Ruins, and then I need to figure out what my login was again, because I'm being such a dum-dum. Oh, you're welcome. It's no biggie. We were just watching like a trailer for a video game that I've been working on at some point. So just give me a moment. It's only like a minute and a half long. But yeah, it's a resource collection game where I wanted to like originally make an idle game that had a lot of like resource collection built into it. Like you can see all the resources on the left hand side there. A little bit reminiscent of Rimworld UI, I guess. But the whole idea was about collecting resources and sort of pulling levels apart and exploring them. So the idea being that all these levels will be like nice looking and interesting to explore and like visually interesting. And eventually you would unlock like upgrades to your harvesting speeds and be able to put down harvesters and that kind of stuff. And you'll progress from level to level that would have different biomes and different resources as a result. And eventually you would like require those resources in order to progress and upgrade further things. So Like what you just saw is all playable. I just need to like log into fucking Twitch here. Okay, give me a moment. I will actually just switch back into Rise to Ruins mode for the time being. Unpause that, because they were kind of like dealing with the remainder of the corruption, no problem. So that way I can figure out what my password was again. Oh, I switched it to something else, but I guess not. I just cannot remember my password for the life of me. Oh right, it's because I had to change my password. And I already forgot what it was, even though it's like a dumb thing. Yep, thank you, Ryan. That is absolutely mint. So it's an authentication token. And I fucked up my, what do you call it? All my cookies on my browser today. So I've been logged out from everywhere. And I'm a doofus at remembering passwords because I have so many things that I'm signed up for everywhere that I lost track a long time ago. There we go. There's the itch.io page for anyone that's curious. And it's free to download and play. It's there for anyone who's curious. And it's got like a infinite game loop that you can continue playing until the game probably might crash, but I don't like I don't think that's ever gonna happen. That would be highly unlikely. Well, it's possible, but eh. But yeah, unfortunately it didn't really get enough traction when I was putting all my energy into it to warrant continuing with it. So it's just been sitting idly by and haven't made any progress in like, geez, how long is this even ago? Because this is a long time ago now. 2 years maybe? More? It's like I've spent like some spare time throughout like the period of a few months developing it. After I finished my studies, at which point I had some leftover stuff, like a lot of leftover stuff in tech that I worked on that previous game project that I mentioned earlier that got cancelled because my friend didn't want to continue doing stuff. And so I just took everything that I could from there and made a different game around the assets and everything. And I gotta admit, like a lot of the time that I spent during university in my spare hours was trying to figure out how to use like Blender and getting better at it, as well as how to use Unity and do game related programming and that kind of stuff, while also, you know, balancing that with doing university based work, which you know, I also during university did have those times where I felt more like doing my side projects than university. But that's to be expected, you know. If you're really burning for it and like you get into the habit of working on it and you really enjoy working on it, then you'd rather do that than studying for classes that might be relevant to what you're currently doing, but doesn't leave you with that same sense of fulfillment. So if I had the opportunity to, I would totally go full-time game developer, but it's just without any like financial backing or interest or support behind me. It's just like not happening. So because I also reached out to people in the, while I was doing that innovative growth is what it was called, sort of program, but unfortunately though there were a lot of interested people, it's just that case where everyone I was contacting was either like already established on in like a workplace somewhere else, or were also themselves just looking for work and ways to survive after being done with their education. So unfortunately, it's not really gone anywhere. And when you're the only person out of all the people that you contact, you know, including yourself, of course, that's motivated to even work on this project, you just see the list of things that you need to do in order for it to be viable on Steam, for instance. I mean, I would consider the current demo to be viable on Steam. It's playable. It has most of the core mechanics in place. There are some things that are missing, including sound, which is like an unfortunate side effect of not wanting to use placeholder sound effects. That's just how it is. But it's like if I put it on Steam, right? And someone in the, you know, Danish system figures out that I've now got like a published game or whatever, they consider that I assume they would consider that as being like, you know, independent development, what do you call it, like creating your own business kind of situation. And that would instantly rip me off of any kind of economic like backbone that I might have. And it's like, what do you do then? Like, I don't know what happens then. Because it's like, in order to receive money, you need to be a registered company and stuff. In order to do it properly, at least, because you have to pay taxes and all that kind of stuff. So even if I could have some success on Steam as an early access title, it would have to blow up immediately to the point where I'm self-sustainable for the long near foreseeable future. And if it doesn't do that, but I gain some kind of income, I'm worried that I would just not be eligible for social benefits whatsoever. And I don't know what happens then. Like, have you just blacklisted yourself from getting social benefits forever? For as long as you have your company? I don't know. This is the kind of shit that really worries me about just doing stuff, you know? Because otherwise I would have put it as like an early access title on Steam a long time ago, in the hopes of getting some traction. Because sure, you can pay what you want on itch.io, but it's like everything that I've made for the game is freely available. The only limitation is that there's only so many levels that I have currently made for the game. So there's not a lot of reoccurring variety. The same with the upgrades. Those are also relatively limited because they're sort of stuck to whatever resources are available in the game at the moment. And a lot of the resources are also not used for anything yet because those are not implemented, so it still has a lot of work that needs to be put in. And, you know, preferably you would have a team of people working on it, because it's got that level of quality where it does take a while to make a level. Like, I did kind of monitor a little bit. Oh, that was the wrong spell. Monitor it when I was working on it, and I could, if I had a clear idea of what I wanted to do, and I had all the assets, I could squeeze out a level within about 2 days. High profit. That they misclick. But yeah, reality is just not in my favor in that regard. I would like to, though. But it's like the game kind of evolved away from an idle game to be more in tune with what you would consider a almost point and click. I would consider it in the subgenre considered sort of, what's it called, hidden object game though. The ancient holy tree is from the Lost Forest mod. So did he just like rip it off from there? That doesn't seem like a a very nice thing to do. Though to be fair, it does strike me as well that the mod offerer behind Medieval Overhaul did rip a bunch of different things from different places. Could not connect to the battle server at this time. Please try again in a moment. Unacceptable. Okay. Well guys, what do we do now? Please try again in a moment. Well, I guess I can go in and upgrade a unit or something. A unit that I haven't rarely ever used. But yeah, I didn't notice, like I was checking out the Medieval Overhaul mod today and okay, I guess we'll just have to wait about 10 minutes. It prevents infestations once fully built and grown. Anyhow, more gamings. Yeah, well, Stream Raiders doesn't really do anything, so we'll have to wait for a bit. Oh, so like gaming's near. Oh, maybe that was the... Was that the tune to tell me that it's ready? No. It was just because it kicked me back out to the main map to sort of tell me, scream at me. Bullshit. Yeah, just ignore that. I guess. Hope it doesn't continue. But I did notice that in the Medieval Overhaul mod, he also has a bird post and like a table that goes along with it, and the intention is that it's a unpowered comms console, which is cool. But there is another mod that does exactly that, plus it allows you to do orbital trades still. It adds a third building, which is like a lit brazier or something, where if you place that, basically functions like a wood-fueled orbital beacon, right? So you still get like orbital trade ships. Yeah, Stream Raiders is borked, go figure. I mean, it tells me it's borked, but I wonder how long it's gonna take for them to fix it. That's what I want to know. Oh well. But yeah, that means that, and his bird post works exactly the same as that standalone mod does. So my guess is that they just ripped it off and maybe credited them, asked for permission, probably. But why make it inferior to the original mod then? I don't know. So it's like with the trees, I guess. And to be fair, the mod offerer does explain that it does a lot of things that the other medieval related mods do, but more attuned to how he wants them to be. Which is like weird for a published mod, but because like you could just not have done the visual overhauls and then just made personal patches to existing mods and call it a day. Or even just have a local copy of it. Because if you're gonna rip off, or not rip off, I don't like using the word rip off, but if you're just gonna copy other people's work and tweak it a little bit, you know, your version's still not gonna be version compatible, like update compatible with other mods. Except if you did, as I said in a moment ago, made a patch. So I don't quite understand why he went through this process of cherry picking things and then changing a couple things. Because then people are just gonna ask him to change it to be exactly like those other mods. Like, he's also got his own mine, but it works in like a, I would say that it works in a cooler way than the other mine related mods out there, which is like a mod that allows you to excavate ores and rocks without being able to go to you know, industrial tech and beyond. And his works in a way where your pawn will stand on a platform on the mine, and then gradually there will be a process bar that will fill up, and when it's full, you'll produce one of the material that you assign. The problem with it is that it only works for vanilla resources and things in his mod, and whatever else he manually patches it for. So that kind of leaves you to, like, that kind of tells you that it's not compatible with basically anything. Whereas the other mine mod that I'm contemplating using instead, and just use like building instead of his variant, that one allows you to mine anything that gets introduced through a mod. Of course, that means that if you want to disable things, you'd have to like do it through scripting, which currently is not an option that you can change, but it's like on the drawing table, at least from the mod, from what the mod offerer for that mod was talking about. But yeah, it just leaves you with much to be desired. There were some other things too. Yeah, he also implements bone himself, which you have Rim of Madness that does that exact same thing. So if you want to run both, you get two types of bones because they're not patched to work together. You know? But I gotta say, I do prefer his mine, as I was trying to point out. Because it has like a very short craft time, so you know, you get the resources more immediately. And the other mine mod works in a way where it's crafting bill sort of related. So you set up a crafting bill for excavating iron ore, for instance, and then based off of some of the stats on the different ores, the amount of time it takes for them to craft that ore process will vary. Now the problem is that it creates a unfinished work item, just like if you were crafting a rifle or piece of armor, so that now you have this item that is linked up to a specific person as well, because it's like with all the other crafting builds, only that person can work on it, and it takes 4,000 work in order to mine some of the ores from my mod. Granted, you get like 300 and something ore each time, but that takes like a couple in-game days, even if you have someone working 24/7 in the mines, which is a bit unoptimal if you have multiple miners and mines, because for each material you want to mine and each person you want to assign to mining, you're gonna have all these unfinished work priorities cluttering up your base. And if that item gets destroyed, all your progress is destroyed as well. Which is why I prefer the ongoing rewards or excavation of material more. That's another thing that's on the drawing table from what I understand. It sounded a bit like it had to do with a more recent change where he originally had it at a fixed rate or something, where every single material had the same amount of work that you need to do in order to acquire them. Obviously a problem when, or actually not necessarily the same, but they were like manually set, so a bit of a problem when dynamically integrating yourself with other mods, because what do you do then? You can't, then you need to assign like manual exceptions for those things where you work and be cherry pick things you want to keep updated, so that obviously doesn't work. But it does mean that the rarity of things weren't really accounted for, so you could get certain things much easier. But now, since it's based off of those stats, it does mean that some of the more very rare stuff takes like a ridiculous amount of time, because the amount of resources you get out is scaled to the amount of time spent is scaled to how many resources you get, which is also scaled to how rare it is. So because you're getting a lot of resources every time you craft this stuff, the crafting time multiplier is so much worse when it's a very rare material. So though you get much of the ore every time, it's maybe way more ore than you necessarily even need, so it's kind of overkill. Okay, I feel like I need to do something manually here, because these enemies are like making this hard. Okay. And I don't know if you're still here, Lack and Cat, but I use an auto clicker for this grab tool, which I highly recommend getting an auto clicker for this game. And that goes to whoever you are, honestly. Not enough influence. Oh, right. Let's go and check up on Rimworld, see how that's going. We've updated the game with new stuff. Please update now to get the latest. Please don't tell me this is an actual install. Right. That's lovely. It's kind of also like fucked up my time schedule. And we won't get to, I don't know if we will get to that blue chest today, because I kind of need to wrap up things for today. God fucking dang it. Otherwise I would just have continued streaming for that extra amount of time. So if you want that blue chest, it means you'll have to drop by tomorrow when I should also be streaming. Today's stream has been a little bit all over the place because I need to do all that development stuff, but tomorrow would be more just game related, I think. Because in order to do the remaining polish and like Rimworld maintenance before doing a colony, I don't necessarily think it makes for good content, because like all the TTK configurations is just going to be me looking at values all day. And I do mean all day, because it's a lot of items potentially I need to go through. Okay, I just need to click start, okay. Cool, cool. Sorry about the delay, but there was nothing I could do about that. Those toads are kind of weird. Not entirely sure what I want to play tomorrow on stream though, because I know that on my schedule I've been slacking on that for the last month or so. Haven't really updated it, and I know it still says Rimworld, which, you know, is not what I'm delivering on, so my apologies if you're using the stream schedule as an indicator. Greg, you get a Centurion scroll, and boy, you get 2 Berserker scrolls. Okay, well, we'll have to wait for this blue chest for tomorrow. Giveaway. Oh, right. Stuff I don't care about. But yeah. Before we send you guys off to someone else, let's go out to the world map and see if there's anything that we can finish off with here. Ding ding, like those sounds. Send 90 wood via courier golems to Springland. Okay, we can do that next time we play. Throw 100. That's an impossible task because there's no enemies spawning over there. Still gotta upgrade the outposts, but you know, we literally just got that one. We're so close to getting a chest too, but that's okay. So nothing particularly interesting there. Well then. So who do we wanna raid? Let's see.
Submit!
Thanks for the follow, boy. Thanks for the follow. Let's see, is there anyone interesting? Could go over and say hi to Cyberfatty. You might appreciate it, even though chat's been a bit quiet, but yeah, why not? It's pretty cool guy. So let's go over there. Forgot the button earlier. No worries. Well, at least you remember so that you, in case you want to continue watching at some point, return. I hope you, you said it was an interesting game. You didn't really ask any questions, but I hope it was interesting enough to watch anyway. You're more than welcome to ask about the game if you are curious about some of the details. I've mentioned it on previous streams, but you know, talking about video games is cool. At any rate, I'll be most likely streaming tomorrow, as I said, and thanks for watching, everybody. Let's go and raid Cyberfatty, though. And just go over and say hi, at least. You don't have to stay around for long, but just go and say hi.
Yo, Dragon King with the raid. How's it going, dude?